virtual box. And on the VM, we installed Kali Linux. So Kali Linux is where we will find our Commix. And allow me to start. So first of all, I go to the applications. So Commix is found under web application analysis, because this is a tool which detects web applications, checks the vulnerability of web applications. So by default is found under web applications. So after opening Commix, I'll then open my web browser. So on the web browser, I'm going to visit GitHub. That's where I'll find the source code. The source code that I will use to attack one or two vulnerable sites. So the source code is found on GitHub. So I'll say git c so that we download the code or the source code. So some of the advantages of Commix include ease of use. It's a very understandable tool that is not so difficult for using for those who are just starting. And also is portable, meaning that it can be used across different applications, Windows, Mac, Linux, and it is also compatible with Python. So we are going to install Python really, because whenever we do have Python, so it's going to make our life easier. And Python is a very understandable programming language. So in this case, I don't want to exactly download a zip folder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the link, and I'm going to extract the link on my terminal. So after copying the link, I will have to come to my terminal. I'm going to paste the CBD folder into my documents. So I'm going to get into the directory, and in it I'm going to paste this link. So it's downloading. So after downloading, I'm going to extract it so that I can be able to use it. So this is the purpose. It's going to say insert master. So it is been saved. So now I can safely remove the folder, because I've already extracted the contents of what I want the folder. So I can remove it. After removing it, I can do cd Commix. This will allow me to get into the Commix master folder, and to also list just to check. And as you can see, I now have a commix.py. So it means that from now on we are going to be utilizing Python. Everything has already been imported. So maybe to finish up, I can just say Python Commix. y. Right, so we have already started, and just to have a feel of what is offered by Python Commix. You can see Python Commix.py minus. This will give us a list, quite a long list of what Commix.py is to offer. There's a lot of modules, file access formats, enumeration, articles that we can use, and it is also path targets as well as generative. So some of these things you can maybe take a look at them later. And moving on, we are supposed to import, or rather we are supposed to import a container, which we have to make use of Docker as a container. So Docker by definition is generally a tool that is to deploy into an application by using containers. So these containers allow developers to put libraries, etc. So instead of installing all the libraries one by one into our server, we can just which does everything else without really getting into the nitty-gritties of downloading everything. So we can start by using this command, which is a system ctr. So start. So the reason why we are installing Docker, besides the issue of containers, that we have a particular application that we want, which is the Commix test bed, in order to facilitate our attacks. Because we have already installed and activated Commix in our machine. So this is going to me for my password in order to finish up with the Docker installation. So after this, we can go ahead and run our container. And this is the code that we're going to use for running the container. RM space and our host, and the port is going to be 80CYR. And press enter. The extraction and the installation is still going on. As you can see from sudo docker ps, only the container, the image, these attributes are showing, but Docker is not yet up. So we're just going to wait for a short while for the complete installation to finish. Okay, I'm going to run sudo docker ps again. As you can see, this time now Docker is up, and it was created about 20 seconds ago, and it has been up for the past 19 seconds. So we can begin. by going to our browser. So we can proceed to our browser and type localhost. And we'll be taken to our test bed. So this is our test bed. So the moment we click on it, we'll be taken to the command injection test environment. So we have various scenarios and categories. We have the regular ones, we have the Regex filters, we have the referrer, HTTP header, user agent, HTTP header, hook HTTP header. So these are some of the websites that we can use Commix tool on in order to test vulnerability on some of those websites. So we are going to start with the classic regular example right here. So on this one, I'm going to ping pwd. So as to get the direct. So I'm pinging the address. This is what I got. So I'm going to copy this localhost address on the so the address that we copied is the address of the website that we check. So I'll just say here iPhone Commix, and I'll say URL, okay, and I'll paste the address. So after pasting the address, let me expand this window a little bit. So after pasting the address, I will have to close the quotes. So what I'll do here is that I will remove this part and put here inject here. So this basically is a command to tell Commix where to pass its payload or where to attack. So you want a sudo terminal shell? I'll say yes. So release of this phone. Alright, so here we are. Okay, so maybe to explain a little bit, what we have here is the information that we got after injecting onto this web address. So we have localhost information, testing is being done, testing the connection to the target URL has already been done, setting the get parameter TDR, testing the result based classic command injection technique. So as you can see, the DDR seems, that's the address, it seems injectable via the results-based classic command injection technique. So this is part of the steps. So as you can see, it does seem injectable. It means that it's vulnerable and it is susceptible to attacks. And also, I was asked if I wanted to a sudo terminal shell, on which I replied why. So why? By replying yes, it means that I've been given the privilege to enter the OS shell. So by entering the OS shell, it means that I will be able to attack the estimation. So as you can see, there are various options. We have these options to get all available options, to go back from the current position, to quit, reverse TCP, bind TCP, reverse TCP. It allows me to connect to the host and get information from the host. And then bind TCP generally. So it basically establishes a connection between my machine and the host machine. So the difference is that the reverse TCP would try to not just establish a connection, but will try to go a step further in making sure that I will be able to access information on the host machine. So from here, I can type various commands like VMI, and maybe I can type PWD. As you can see, this one is the same as the one that we got on the browser. This one is the same. So it means that we really are attacking this. So from here, so I can maybe terminate this, and we can move on to observe the kind of information bunched up that we were able to find on this website. So in order to do that, you can just repeat the same command, but in this case, I'm going to add information that I want to fetch on the current user. It's currently using the machine, the host name, root, system. So if and when I press enter, I'll be given the following information. Resolving host name, localhost is being resolved. The connection is being tested to the target URL. The previously stored session has been held against that host. So as you can see, it's actually an attack. If I press no, I don't want to. I'll be given the following information. The host name is given. As you can see again, this ADDR seems injectable. This that is susceptible to attacks. And the host name, this is the host name given. The current user is www dot, and it is not privileged, so it means that you might not have too much access to it. So the target operating system is Linux, and it's Ubuntu 14.04, and it's on the hardware platform x68 64. So this means that in the event that we do want to make some attacks with this information, or rather in the event that we are on the other side of our hackers, it means that this website is vulnerable. So since we do not want to continue with the attack, we can just say no. We can say no again. We don't want to continue testing the class command injection. Skipping the code injection. I want to skip it and move on to another form of attack. So generally, as you can see, the website is vulnerable to attacks. After injecting our comics onto the website, it's susceptible to attacks. So in order to move on, we can just about this session. Okay, so We are going to move back to our browser, and we are going to go back and try another category. Test the vulnerability of the user agent HTTP header. So we are going to select the classic user agent first. Example. So again, we'll copy the web address. So as you can see, this is the other address that we have here, the information that we have here. But the one that we want to use is the one on top, the one that I copied. So we come back to our terminal. We go back to GitHub, and on GitHub, maybe just refresh this page. So what you want is the Commix testbed. So from there we go to scenarios. The scenarios use of agent. From use agent you go to so this is the code. As you can see, the code for this website, if we scroll down to the HTTP user agent, there are no security scenarios given or security set. So it means that it's going to be quite easy to hack onto this website because of the lack of security. Not even passwords. Seems to be nothing. So okay. So moving on. Go back to our terminal. Now that we already have the web address. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paste it here. So I'm going to use somewhat the same command that I used for the UI for the other website URL. Then I'll paste here. This. So I'll close the book. So in this case, we are not going to replace the host name, but we are going to change the level at which we are going to attack. We are going to change it level to level 3. We have various levels. We have level 1, which is the default. We have level 2, the attack which has to do with cookies, and on this one we do have the level 2. We want to see what happens at this level. Then we can also use this technique. See a different technique found on Commix that can facilitate with injection, command injection. So when pressing enter, you can see that testing has already started on the URL, and setting the HTTP header user agent for test has already started, and testing and classic command injection technique has already started, with that the attack is already going on. So this is going to take okay, so we are done with our test, and as you can see, The HTTP header user agent, it seems injectable via results-based classic command injection technique, like what you observed on that code. We had already made the speculation that it was vulnerable, and it has been confirmed that it's injectable. And below is our payload, one that we used. So we have reached the end of our demonstration, and allow me to put an end to this, and thank you for your time.